So, it's been a while since we checked in with the 8-year-old version of anime, so let's do that now. The Amazing Spider-Man, Renew Your Vows, issue 11. I really, really, really like this cover. It is just, this is what a classic comic book cover looks like. A giant green goblin hovering over the city on a hoverboard with helicopters around, the Spider family looking around. It's great. So, as you may remember, tricked into bonding with the Venom symbiote, MJ struggled to control the alien's violent impulse as she and Peter wrestled with what this means for their family. Meanwhile, Normie Osborn's festering anger over the death of his father and Peter Parker's best friend, Harry Osborn, has driven him to take drastic steps in order to preserve the Osborn legacy, and thanks to his resources as the child CEO of Oscorp and the salvaged ruins of Regent Technologies, Normie is closer than ever to exacting his revenge on Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man, Renew Your Vows. The Curse of the Green Goblin, Part 1. So it opens with Annie waxing on about what it's like to grow up with superpowers. Pretty much. And as her family is chasing down the Rhino. She she's she is a little upset that her parents tell her to stay back because the Rhino is too big of a threat. Because she compares it to going to an amusement park and finding out you're too small for the really good rides. They say the Rhino is the big threat. However, didn't we see Annie and MJ take down the Rhino like really quickly in the first issue of this thing? Yeah, here's the thing. I've never really considered a Rhino. I mean, yeah, he has lots of muscles, but even as a kid, I never really considered a Rhino that big of a threat to Spider-Man because, well, he's the Rhino. He's the biggest, stupidest thing out there, and he can't really stand heat. So it's like, yeah, this, and he'll pretty much just charge into any hazard if you just, yeah. And as the Rhino jumps over a car, a truck opens up and they blast, and it has like laser guns that blast Peter and MJ and knock them down. And then the Rhino grabs Annie, and they screech away. And yeah, let's just say MJ is pissed. We then cut to Liz Allen. The Osborn curse. I thought we could escape it this time. I really did. I just didn't expect Normie to move this quickly, Miss January. Since the run-in with the lizard, a light seems to have gone out in him. He just broods, always. That light, I remember when it went out in Harry. It was just before. He leaves me no choice. What are you going to do, Miss Allen? I'm going to call the members of the Oscorp board and tell them what Normie's been up to. Yes, finally. Even the Dark Knight movies didn't get this right. So many people think that if you just have majority share in a company, you can do whatever you want with the company, even if it means running it into the ground or breaking the law and there's nothing the other shareholders can do. But no, in the United States we have laws that protect board members from domination and other investors. Basically, it says that the smaller investors, if they come to an agreement, even if they don't have enough stock shares to vote, they can take legal action to nullify any decisions made by the majority shareholder, and those can't go into effect until the issue is sorted out in the courts. And it's a good law to have because, think about it, if we didn't have laws that protected smaller shareholders from domination, then we would never get the thousands of smaller shareholders it takes to keep a large corporation going. Because once somebody owned a majority stake in the company, everybody else would figure that that they have no say in what the company's doing. So why would they invest money into something that they have no control over? It's It's that type of situation. You feel like you're being taxed without representation. Well, this tax you have a choice of paying, so you can't. So yeah, corporations would collapse unless we had laws protecting them from domination, because otherwise all you'd have to do is get one bad majority shareholder in a company, and they could just completely run it into the ground and take everybody else's money with them. So yeah, when Liz Allen then gets hit by guys coming out of a helicopter with guns breaking through her window. Silence! Because of course it's a comic book, so we couldn't go more than 4 issues without having somebody shout silence. Yeah, it turns out January is totally on Normie's side. In fact, she seems to have this creepy, I don't know, teacher with she seems to have this creepy teacher who's fallen in love with a grade school age student vibe to her at this point. And yeah, she takes and she brings up something that I wondered. Where were you on Normie's birthday, Liz? Yeah. So Normie is showed to be sort of a product of his environment, in that, yeah, Liz Allen was too busy getting drunk and infecting people with the Venom symbiote to try and stop him, to try and stop Normie any other way. Maybe she just needed to call in the dog whisperer and start going tss, tss, to Normie. Tss, tss, tss. Dominate. So, Peter and MJ are trying anything they can, but to find Annie, but they can't. But they can't come up with anything, and they realize that it was a trap. And but they have to be calm because MJ is having enough trouble keeping the symbiote under control. As you can imagine, yeah, not only is it part of MJ now, but you have to remember the symbiote's general feeling to those who touched those it deemed innocents. For instance, in the first issue of Venom Lethal Enforcer back in the 90s, it opens with Venom actually scaring away a lady who he when he catches the guy stealing her purse. Why? Because the Venom symbiote decides just to kill the guy outright. And Eddie Brock is an insane moron driven by rage, so he just goes along with it. Yeah, that's who Eddie Brock is. Say what you want about Spider-Man 3, and believe me, I have. And Topher Grace says Eddie Brock, which really didn't work. But at least he got the basic attitude of Eddie Brock right. Everything that happens wrong in his life is somebody else's fault, and he wants revenge for it. And the symbiote suit was hurt by Peter rejecting it. So when it bonded with him, it started feeding off his hatred. Its anger started feeding off Eddie Brock's own hatred and blaming Peter Parker for everything that had ever gone wrong in his life. And the fact is, the trouble I have with the new Venom movie is that it presents Eddie Brock as the Mr. Nice Guy, and that is not Eddie Brock. The guy who goes to a church and prays to God to strike down somebody dead because he thinks he's wronged him just because he cleared his name of bogus criminal charges that he framed him for. That is Eddie Brock in the flesh. So yeah. So yeah, Annie is now being held in what looks like those what it looks like those things that the Incredibles were held in when they were captured in the first movie. And yeah, she wonders why Normie would want to hurt her dad after he saved him in the last issue. Has your beloved hero of a dad ever told you about my father? Huh? Of course he didn't. If if Spider-Man were a real hero, my father would be alive today. And just like all Osborns, he conveniently changes the truth to fit his warped vision of the world and to justify his rage. For instance, oh, Harry kept kept forgetting the part where Norman died simply because he was trying to trick Peter. Yeah, pretty much. Norman Osborn's death in the comics went pretty much beat for beat the way it did in the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. He impaled himself on his own glider, the idiot, because he didn't think. Because for some reason he doesn't seem to have realized that Spider-Man would jump out of a way because, oh yeah, I've been fighting this guy for dozens of issues, but I forgot he has spider sense. Idiot. And anyway, and he's trying to convince Annie to, and he's in true sociopathic fashion. He's trying to make Annie. He's actually trying to make Annie into his image by say by trying to put her in the same position he is by killing Peter Parker, and thinks that she'll become just like him if he dies. I'm the foolish child? Have you looked in a mirror? You play dress up in your suit, and you build giant robot toys. You're just a sad little boy. How dare you? I don't have a father, and my mother doesn't have time for me. Yeah, and how does that prove that you're not acting silly? As Nomad would say, non sequitur. And yeah, he lashes out. And then, but then, Peter walks into a bar. I think I saw this scene once on Babylon 5 with Marcus. So yeah, it's a bar full of supervillains, and Peter makes quick work of them. There are lots of classic villains I notice in here, and Peter makes very quick work of them, driven by rage. Meanwhile, MJ inadvertently saves Liz Allen, who is then confronted with what I think is probably the scariest thing of the universe: an angry MJ with a Venom suit. I dare you to come up with something that's scarier than an angry MJ in a Venom suit. Peter then wails on the Rhino, who tells him that it's up because the guy who hired him, because he says the guy who hired him wants him to know. This doesn't calm Peter down at all. Oscorp. Stay away from my family next time, or I won't be so forgiving. You infected me with the symbiote. I don't know why now, or what you're going, or right now. I want to know right now, or you're going to get to see what this costume can really do. I need it to distract Spider-Man. My son is hell-bent on hurting him. I'm terrified I was protect my son. Surely you can understand. Don't you have a daughter? I do, and she has been kidnapped. Yeah, don't try to play this card of, you should have mercy on me because I was only trying to protect my family. Yeah, well, you endanger my family with MJ. She does not stand for that kind of nonsense. Tell you where I can help you, gasp, if you let me go. It's better. I suspect your daughter is at Oscorp, as is the solution to your problems. If you let me go, I can call the Oscorp board members and end this. Do it. So yeah, kidnapping a kid so that you can ambush a superhero is cowardly. Are you a coward? Well, either you're a coward or you're just a sad, lonely boy. Which is it? Sir, everything is ready. It's time for lunch. Oh, good. I think I'll have the turkey on rye. I said launch, not lunch. Oh. Well, I'll be right back with you. Do you remember what it's like to be happy before you started pretending to not be a kid before your dad passed away? Yes. Walking out that door won't make you happy. You can still start over. You can be happy again. Maybe we can even be friends. but Normie walks out. And Liz is having trouble, has dialed every member of the board and can't get them. We soon see why, as they have all been executed. And then Peter is swinging to Oscorp, only to find that he's too late. A giant green goblin robot has just blasted through the roof. That seems to be the sort of thing that will affect the value of the stock. Yeah, this is a very good build up issue, and a lot happens, and it has a lot of excitement to it. And again, great art from Ryan Stegman, who may be one of the best modern artists in comics. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. Just a great fun read, and I think you'll enjoy it. Thank you for listening.